is March 23rd, right? How do I share this on me? Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome. This is Brain Power for March 23rd, Monday, March 23rd. Welcome. I have, it's been a very, very strange week. We've had some big disappointments and some rearranging of our lives. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. I'm just really happy that we are all still here, and that we are still, from what I hear, I mean, I don't hear anything to the contrary, so I'm going with that we are all in good health, that we are maintaining a state of safety and wellness so far. And of course, the hope, the intention, the prayer is that that continues. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Before I introduce my guest this afternoon, last week we had talked about taking calls this afternoon. So we are going to, but not just right now. Yeah, later in the program we will, like in about half an hour or so. So the numbers are Radio Monster at 491-7227. Get ready to call that number and just say hi, hello, and ask me a question or tell me something, and my guest. Coronavirus is a big, big, big deal for everybody, and I have a couple of messages from some people who are dear to me and who love Montserrat as much as I do, but who can't be here right now. Dr. Brenda, my sister, who many of you know, some of you were delivered by her, and some of you are her godsons. So, yeah, she is, of course, she is concerned, very much concerned, not just for me, but for Montserrat right now. She is literally on the front lines of the United States. She runs her own practice, and she works with children. And when you work with children, you're pretty much working with the whole family. So she is seeing things that she'd rather not see. She's encountering things both in her practice and in among her patients that are causing some distress. And I invited her to talk with us this afternoon, just to kind of tell us how things are going and give us some perspective. But this afternoon she has a training, because one of the things that's happening is that the health authorities in the United States are keeping their doctors and the medical people up to date on the advances that they're making or not, the challenges that they're finding, and giving them advice on how to manage themselves. Because one of the things that's happening is that people, of course, because people are not allowed to be going out and advised to not go out, many people are not even going to the doctor's offices. They would normally go for well checks, for example. They're not going, people are staying home. And so doctors in the United States are having difficulty maintaining their roster of patients. And my sister, like I said, runs her own practice, and she wanted to talk to us about, I wanted her to talk to us a little bit about managing children, because she's a pediatrician, managing children in these times. Then my other sister, Joan, who actually used to be the principal nursing officer here, she's a geriatric nurse practitioner now. She used to actually be a midwife. They didn't call them that. Yes, she used to be a midwife. Now she's a geriatric nurse practitioner, and that, of course, we all know is probably the most vulnerable of the populations that are experiencing this terrible, terrible plague. And so she is also going to next week give us a little bit of reassurance and some tips and so on about dealing with our elders. And of course, here, like everywhere else, you're not allowed to visit elderly people, not allowed to go to the hospital and so on. So it's really hard, and you can't hug up your people and say, oh, sick, you feel sick, let me hug you up, and rub their back. And so it's really, really hard. And in fact, one of the things that's coming up for me now is about my grandmother. But again, my sister's going to help us figure out how to find our way through this. And one last thing, One last greeting I have from my brother, the guy all of you love, all of us love. He is sending greetings. He's taking care of his health also, and doing really, really well. Fortunately, just getting things are keeping on going well. He had gone for a checkup, and that's been going well. Now, of course, he can't travel to come back to you, but he's going to be doing that as soon as he possibly can. And then we are all working hard to get through it. I've been self-isolating. I miss the old school ball. I wanted so badly to go. It's my favorite. It's my favorite, right? And I don't just go. By the time I walk in the door, I'm dancing. At some point, I go get myself a drink, go back to dance, and I dance until the thing ends, or until I get tired and I go home.
Done.
That's what I go to do, and the music is always so good. So I really missed it this time. Really, really missed it. But I thought it better to protect myself and possibly protect other people, because one of the things that happened is I saw all these people I hadn't seen in a while. You know what that is? And you want to hug them up and feel them up and say, I'm happy to see you. And I did some of that.
Joy.
Even though you did it carefully,
Yes.
you know, you still have to be, still have to worry. So I decided to kind of take myself off the streets, as you know, as it were. And I'm advising people to do that. I spoke to my auntie in England last night, and she is telling me she's being, you know, they're being advised to stay in for 12 weeks. You tell me, Shirley, I don't know how I could stay in the house for 12 weeks.
Wow.
Of course, my auntie is over 70, so she has to be really careful. She's in decent health. She's in fairly good health anyway, but still. And then my mother is in the US and should have been coming back home now, but of course we're not going to let her travel. So I'm here by myself. I'm here by myself, which is one of the reasons I'm so happy that I have friends who come, and I'm sorry that they had to leave early and so on. But I have one still here with me.
I'm going to tell you that.
I have one still here with me, and
Wow.
I'm really happy to have him on here. I didn't know he was still here actually. I thought maybe he had gone back with all the others, but to rush back.
It's a good thing I didn't come just for festival. I came home.
That's a good thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Gershom Allen. Gershom, let's begin by, I wanted you to just tell me a little bit about yourself before we get started. I'm going to play a song in a little while, but I want you, before we actually get into the conversation I want to have with you, I want you to just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well,
and what Monjak means to you.
Ms. Shirley Osborne, I want to say thank you very much for having me on Mind Power. I'm so excited just to be in your presence. You're a young woman that I look up to for a long time. Respect and honor. Who's Gershom? Windy Hill, playing, what do they call it, marbles, hopscotch,
rounders, cricket.
Man. Yeah. Just love the joy of the breeze. Childhood days were just something that I thrive for. Went to Harris's school in my primary days. Then my father and mother moved me and went to St. Devin's school throughout my life here. Now it's currently shut down.
Yeah.
Something I'm thinking about in the pipeline. That was a private school, where I got most of my principles. Growing up in a Christian home, Augustus and Robert Allen and Ismay Glendora Allen is my parents. My brother is Honorable Cranston Buffon. Shout out to him where he is right now, doing what he has to do.
Hi, Cranston.
That's right. And
let me tell you a quick thing about Cranston. Cranston's father taught me to drive.
Stop that.
Yes. Cranston's father taught me how to speed and how to move off on a hill without rolling back and crushing the egg. Yes.
Yeah. So
one of my favorite people.
So in Windhill was very difficult life. Humble beginnings, sheep on boat, and looking after get the bush them on the grass. My dad taught me how to work hard, how to he's a hustler, and I always challenge him and say, Dad, you a hustler, you should have been a businessman. And he said, son, how you tap your trip in this and that will put food on the table. And I said, I'm going to show you how to do it. No one showed him how to hustle besides his mom worked hard in the garden and different stuff like that. But in 1995, when this sad volcano happened, of course we bounced back from Hugo. My dad, 2 years after that, made a decision with a big family that the best thing for the opportunity came, and we left and went to London. There, I found it difficult, depression. I didn't want to stay there. As a matter of fact, I couldn't get into school when the rest of my siblings got in. I was 15. I went at a delicate age because that age got year 11 or year 10. So that was the last year. When down there you have third form, you going to fourth and fifth. So I didn't get that. So when that happened, it was really detrimental for me. I left my friends behind. I left people that I love behind, respect, and I was looking forward to graduating CXC down here. Never got the opportunity to wear a cap. So coming out for a year, my mom took the last check. Shout out to my mom, I love you so much. That's why I'm never gonna stop. She took a last check my dad, gave us traveler's checks. He said, no matter what you do, you have to go to school. And she found a private school in January. Tears are coming, never share this part. She took her last check and she paid for my tuition. And unfortunately, I was late. I remember just shouting the lady, she died from cancer, Cindy Simmons. She pulled me in the room, and this was about February, March. I got in about January, last week in January or something. February, March, April exams. So I was in year 11 last year. And she told me, you have something special about you. Yes, we as an English teacher, I'm so sorry I can't help you because you got a couple of months left and you're gone. I didn't do well in school. I flunked. I came out when I got into college with the grades I had. I went to Enfield College in North London where I dropped out. Now, why did I drop out? I did business, NVQ or something. I didn't know what this NVQ stand for. When I went and I did it, they didn't really touch me to teach me the way I wanted to learn. I was young, so 16 caught me, 17 dropped out. And the parks, I love basketball, you talk about ball, that's what saved me from being bad. Most of my friends, a lot of my friends at those years, they end up in a lot of rather sad predicaments in London. He sucked them in. They turned to alcohol, different things, drugs, prison.
Good afternoon and welcome.
A lot of things happened to them, and I watched each one, and I carried on my life. But my mom always tell me, son, you're special of the 8. There's something different about you.
Your mom had 8 kids?
8 kids.
Wow.
Yeah. Soldier, man.
How many girls?
3.
Okay.
Shout out to all of them. I love them. They're listening right now. And she said, I remember one night, just a story quickly, shouting. I was going into music. Dub Star, Nelson Until, DJ Rush Kenny, all these guys hanging around the music era then. And that time I'm going into 18, now I'm coming a dub. And I remember coming home one night from one of the parties, and I snuck in my house because I snuck out to go. I climbed up, took off my shoes at the bottom, and climbed in. Never share the story, so value this one. It's a powerful one. I went climbing into my bed, and it was dark. The bed was on, there's a bunk bed. So I climbed under my bed, and I tucked myself in. And I hear my mom say, oh God, whatever way we come from, please, let right in that moment,
They always know, don't they?
I woke up. I said, Mommy, you there? And she carried on praying, and she finished, and she went back out and left. In that moment, that was a very decisive moment to me. I come to 18 now. And I said, God, what do you want me to do? What do you want for my life? And I said, if you really want me to do something, show me. And that's when my life started to go uphill.
Okay.
So
Let me hold the thought, because you said your mother. I know yesterday was Mother's Day in England, in the mothers are really important. There's no question about that. Mother's Day. With my mother, we get the joke because she gets 2 Mother's Days. Because of course there's Mother's Day in England and there's Mother's Day in the United States. So because all of her kids are kind of all over those places, she gets to do both of those. So when I call my Aunt Irene to tell her Happy Mother's Day, I call my mother to tell her Happy Mother's Day. And when I tell my mother Happy Mother's Day here, I call Aunt Irene in England. So I'm going to ask Lenny to play a song for us. Also because just as dear to me and to lots of people I know is grandmother.
Yes.
And one of the things that has happened in Montserrat over and over again, and not just Montserrat, but throughout the Caribbean, but in Montserrat, when parents have to leave for whatever reason, grandmother takes over.
Yes.
I lived with my parents here, but I was at my grandmother's, so every weekend,
Mm-hmm.
every holiday I was at mama, and I had friends going to school. Their parents had migrated, and so they were brought up by their grandparents and so. And every time I get sick, especially when I get the flu, something like that, my grandmother. I have an old flannel night here. It used to belong to my grandmother. When I have a fever, so I put on my flannel nightgown. I'm hoping that I don't have to put it on anytime soon.
Mm.
But I've been thinking about my grandmother and how important those people are, and the things that they teach us. And so one of my favorite songs is a song called Grandma's Hands that I'm asking Lenny to play for us.
That story.
And then we come back and talk about mothers and grandmothers, and then we get into.
I haven't told that story in a long time.
Okay, that's Alger. That's Billy Preston. Bill Withers, I mean, just. It's so hard to not touch my face. Okay. And you want to do that?
I practice.
I've got it on to, I don't touch.
I used to bite my nails.
No, I don't do that. But this, I really do. Yeah, grandma's hands. Women are really, really important in times like these.
Paramount.
Yeah.
Paramount.
The caretakers around the world, for the most part, are women. Nurses, most nurses are women. Nowadays, more and more doctors are women, and obviously in homes, usually it's women who do most of the caretaking of both elders, babies, and the men. And I want to just kind of re-emphasize for the men out there, because one of the things I know from experience, and I know because I have sisters who are medical professionals, tell me men just wait and wait and wait to go to the doctor until sometimes they're too late.
That's true.
Too often they go too late.
That's true.
And I'm just kind of impressing on the men.
To go.
If your head hurt you, your throat feels sore, something, go look after yourself. No wait until pass. Hope you pass tomorrow. Nowadays you can't wait.
No.
Right now, go look after. Made you feel sick. Stop playing strong. Stop pretending you're too strong. You're strong enough for everything, and go look after yourself.
100%.
Yeah. So mothers, you were telling about your mother. I saw a picture of your grandmother
Wow.
this morning.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. What's your grandmother's name?
Her name is Sarah Jo.
I know your grandmother.
They call her Sane.
I thought so. I haven't seen her in ages and ages and ages.
Yeah, she's gonna be 86 this year.
Oh, you're gonna give her a hug for me.
I'm just looking forward to going back home. She's gonna be there in August. I mean, let me tell you something. You talk about mothers, and women are the anchors of this world.
I know.
I mean, when I say anchor, they know how to. If they do it right, you got the man. Trust me, the man will never leave you.
Yeah.
And I believe that my nan, she's always got a smile on her face.
I remember her.
She's always kind. She's a fun-loving person. I think that's where I get my fun from. I love her to honor her. She got amazing stories that she tells. She's traveled the Caribbean, and but she came from very humble beginnings to not much.
Yeah.
But she's a phenomenal. But my mom, only child. for my only child. Out of that, 8
8
children.
veterans, good.
And then out of that, probably we got 24. So the family and the legacy is going on.
Yes.
So which is what I'm about. I'm about legacy, and I believe that, you know, mothers, if you do it right, you know, don't put too much focus on the man that is in the house. Do your thing. Do your thing. Anchor your thing, and believe me, that man will see your value. And that's why I was talking about value system the other day. You know, once you know your self-worth, your value, once you really look at yourself as a person, which my mom taught me, you know, respect yourself, love yourself. Don't let somebody's opinion of you have to hold you to account, you know, of what you want to become.
Yeah.
And that's where my transformation started. I'll tell you my story because, you know, after that prayer, and I went to get, mom said get a job, and I found a job, packing boxes in a warehouse in London. After 3 years, I was racially abused. I don't really talk about that much, but it made me a character, which I came back to Montserrat one year after being working so hard packing boxes and sweeping the warehouse. That day, the manager, which gave me the job, general manager, but you know, who was made director later on, pulled me in the office and said, "What's been going on?" I heard some gossip, and basically numbers fell behind. So what was going on? They needed me, and then I heard that, is this true? What was taking place? And he fired the guy, which is supervisor, and made me team leader. Gave me his I was team leader at the time when I left actually, and then they made me supervisor, so I got his job. Okay. And then I worked my way up straight up to active manager, and that was a transformation again. You know, I was coaching men because men work in the warehouse. I worked 300 staff. It was crazy, like just coaching them, and as they passed through, I was giving them advice, and I was doing my thing. Like this is my gig. And then I went to my dark place, engaged to a beautiful woman, 6 years, and on my birthday she told me she wants me as free as a bird. I was like, whoa, couldn't understand that. Yeah. So in that process, and that happening, lost some friends along the way. Quit my job, jumped, went, said, you know what, I'm gonna do something that was liberating. I did for myself. Packed my bags, told my mom and my mom cried, and I went to Florida, and I had a world of a time. And that's where my life transformed, where I started to do things for me. Yeah. I started to hold myself accountable. I started to take responsibility for myself. I started loving myself. I started going on that journey where I started to look at myself and personal development, and that's exactly where I found my gift, which is the gift of speaking. And now my gift is making room for me at the table. Good. We're gonna talk some more about that. I want to talk about that, but I want to in that context, I want to talk to you about what ambition means. And I want to do that now with you for a number of reasons. One is because these last couple of weeks, St. Patrick's Day, St. Patrick's Week, all these things are going on, and people have plans, and people have made investments, and they want to get this done, that done, the other thing done. And some people, Montserratians overseas, probably in particular I'm talking about right now, and see how being in Montserrat at this time and doing something in Montserrat at this time can help advance their work. Yeah. And then pretty much everybody got the disappointment of the year, hopefully not of their lifetimes, but this thing has put a spoke in everybody's wheel. But I also, there's an undercurrent here in Montserrat, which is, it's impossible to ignore. And sometimes you hear people articulate like that there's an ambition issue in Montserrat, that the Montserratians don't have a certain kind of ambition. And every time I hear it, I cringe, and I does curse people, because I know it's not true. But people see, there's a way of life in Montserrat. I'm with you. I'm just waiting.
Montserrat is safe and beautiful and comfortable. And if you have a decent house, and you have a car, and you have food, you could do one or two things: fight for more, and possibly stress yourself out, or just say, "Look, life short, life is unpredictable. Let me just enjoy what I have and don't stress out myself too much." And some people see that as lack of ambition. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that one of my mentors, he says to me, "You can only have what you work for." and the level of work ethics you have decides the results you get. And I actually met two young ladies, and they said to me, "Well, you look so." I said, "I'm tired. I'm not tired of tired, but I'm tired because I'm constantly working on my next idea, next opportunity, working on my next, big thing." And ambition is about understanding that you have 24 hours in a day. Ambition is about making the best of every opportunity. And opportunity doesn't drop like, oh, I'm waiting for that big speaking gig or big. No, it's every single day. And you create your own opportunities, or you're going to wait for it to come. And the one that has the most opportunities is the one that creates them. And my mentor tell me, look, it's down to you. And I think the drive behind you looking and waiting for that opportunity is what I see a lot of multinationals out there are struggling with. They got these ideas, or I've been trying to filter some people, and they think, oh, it's because you're in England. No, I mean, the amount of content I've created since I've been here. I'm actually finishing my book here. That's why I came. I'm gonna give the secret.
Okay.
I am working on my book. This book is gonna destroy the world. I'm telling you, it's called Dreams. And
we don't want to destroy the world.
when I say destroy, it's gonna put in a position where, look at me. It's gonna recognize, bring them to a different level. When I say destroy, it's gonna wake some people up.
Yeah.
So I said to my wife, I'm coming. This is why I'm finishing. It's done, but there's some things I need to tweak, and I knew there was and it's been happening. I'm just grateful.
Okay.
The reason why I'm saying that is it's an opportunity. I'm here. I'm rejuvenated. The space is open, and I'm creating. So you can't wait for people to give you that opportunity, or ambition is about you knowing the opportunities in your hands.
So here's a question though. You have to have ambition towards something. There's something that you want.
Yeah.
So is there something wrong with being perfectly happy with a nice house, a decent house? Don't have to be a palace. A decent house. The fact that you can get out and walk the streets safely and comfortably, and that you can manage on, a little bit of money. You don't need to have tens of thousands of dollars every month. You don't need to be flying around the world. And is there anything wrong with that?
There are two kind of people in the world, and I'm going to define them when I talk about greatness. Les Brown, one of my greatest admirers of the work I do. Greatness is about is either two people. You define to be average, or you choose to be great. And great is about legacy, the impact you make for your generation after you. And this is what it's about. If you're just living for yourself and you're living for comfortability, I mean, anybody can do that. But when you start thinking about your neighbor, when you start thinking about the children, like that's why I said that I'm here, the schools, that generation after you, that you're making an impact. They can go higher than you. They can go wider than you. They can do more than you. Then you're making it. That's why when the EU and the Brexit was happening, they said they're taking the great out of Great Britain, because Great Britain did everything for everybody outside. And I mean that is why we have the Commonwealth. That's why we have different things that Great Britain have done. But the truth of the matter is that's what legacy is about. And yes, you can think that you're comfortable, but ideally you're gonna die in an unmarked way, because nobody is it this African.
But but does that matter though, Gershom? Because I remember listening to a TED talk one time. This Brazilian businessman, I can't remember his name now. This was like a year or two ago, and I think he was in oil. I can't remember, but the point is that he gave that all up. He kept his money, obviously, sold out, left the firm, took his money, and started an educational program. Schools. And in the process, doing interviews and so on, and somebody had asked him about, he asked him, what his legacy is, and he said, at first his response was, I want to make my mark on the world. I want to be remembered. Then he said he thought about it and had to ask himself again, why does he need to be remembered? Why is there some kind of arrogance to wanting to be remembered? Or we just come and do the work we need to do
and leave, and
then just go. And if you're remembered, fine. But is there, because ambition, a lot of time, ambition is about making you mark, so when you die, people remember you.
Right, but this is the thing, and I understand that Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Barack Obama. You see, when I say those names, what happens? There's something that you associate them with.
Yes.
I wanted to sort it out.
Did they want to do the work, or did they want to?
They just did the work.
Exactly.
They
exactly.
did, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you, but they made a decision that I'm going to do the work, and also know the level of where my work is going to be at. So it's like you're going to be average. Like I'm just going to be an ice cream. I'm going to make ice cream. I'm going to sell it to people, and that's it. I'm going to just go away. I'm going to make ice cream. I'm going to build my brand.
Best ice cream in the world.
Come on, and then I'm going to make impact in China, in Dubai, in New Zealand, in England, and then you internationally know.
Yes.
So when you talk about ambition, there's levels of it. There's levels of it, and I mean that's why I do masterminds. That's why I do coaching, and that's why I do. When you get into a place where you understand it's not just Montserrat, you're a part of the Caribbean, one of the best gems in the Caribbean. So amongst Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Antigua, and Iran, we can compete on not consciously. Like you don't have to compete because there's something called dominance in your industry. And if you want to be a dominant Caribbean island, beautiful paradise island, how do we market it? And this is what I want to say. I'm going to have to bring this in here. I've been waiting for this platform to share something like this. Monsterations must understand what social networking is. They don't. The majority of monsterations that are on social media don't realize when you put something out there, it's going throughout the world. When you Google Montserrat and you put hashtag Montserrat, whatever your conversations are, they will pop up. And remember, you are your own review now. And a lot of content, sometimes you find some stuff that you wonder, wow, people are saying this stuff about Montserrat. Do they want, they know their market, Montserrat, when you say whatever. So that's why for me, it's about greatness. Greatness is about the impact and the inspiration that you made in other people's lives. And you walk in a path that when your legacy, when you live what you're known for. And for me, as a motivational speaker and life strategist, I understand that a lot of people don't really wake up. They just live an average life. You know, you go to a job, you come home. That's what I'm saying. In those years I was doing that, it's totally different now. I wake up every single day and it's my why. It's like, what next? What can I do? Who can I inspire? If you know, that's what it's about.
And I want to talk about that particular one. Hold that thought here, because I know that one of the challenges for Monsterations, I remember having this conversation so many times and having arguments about this. I've heard people talk about some of the Monsterations in England, they're not doing good, they can't do this, they just do that. And I'm saying, think about this. You're forced to leave. I mean, if I pick up myself and decide I'm going to live in England because I want to do something, I want a different life, or so, that's one thing. If I go there and farm the food and make an ass of myself, that's on me.
Yeah.
But if I don't want to be there, I had no plan to be, I'm perfectly happy and comfortable here, and I have all the things I want here.
Yeah.
And circumstances, dire, terrible, painful circumstances, tossed me out there. And I found myself in this strange, not very hospitable place.
True.
And having to find my way and deal with racism and
Trust
cold
me.
and all kinds of strange things.
Trust me.
And I don't do well. Is there, I mean, it's happening because people have, it's a psychological thing, it's a painful thing.
No.
And when you get into these circumstances, it's really, really difficult sometimes to find yourself. Plus, you've left the mother behind, or the mother's there with you and can't do what she's used to be doing and can't even take care of children the way she wants to because, of course, she's working, an hour's drive away and can't get back by the time school's done and not giving them the right kind of food.
Hectic.
All kinds of stuff happens. And so I'm often more than a little bit irritated when people complain to me about some of the Monsterations, about those Monsterations that by their definitions are not doing well and how they could be doing, they should be doing because. So tell me, what's your thought on that? Because like I said, all these things that Monsterations deal with in England, I mean, America's a different situation because you decide to go to America.
Yeah.
Okay, England, many of us found ourselves.
Choice. I mean, choose it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you didn't really have a choice. You're going to die up in Stratton. You're going to die up in Harrison. You don't have your house. You don't have no,
True.
And you have to preserve your life.
100%.
Yeah. So tell me about that, and then we're gonna play a song, and then we're gonna possibly take phone calls.
Yeah.
A couple, not very many. We don't have a whole lot of time. We have until 4 o'clock, but I want to take a couple of people. We're gonna call in just to kind of add to the conversation. Because remember we had said that once a month or so we're gonna do do call-ins, and although we just started the program, this is I think the 4th one we're doing.
Oh wow.
So it's still early days.
Still fresh,
It's
still
kind of
fresh.
kind of
It's-
working
it's-
up the kinks.
It's
Yeah.
first quarter living.
Yes. So tell me about how you feel about this and people's, people moving finger and the difficulty, the challenges.
It's very
and how to
challenging.
cope.
I thank God, I'm going to say this I'm going to give this nugget, this principle that was taught by Les Brown. He said it says systems work if you work the system.
Mhm.
And people fell into a system that they didn't know about.
Exactly.
That was a big difference. They understood Montserrat. My father said he comes back here, he can get on. He knows how to live, he knows to thrive, he knows to become.
Mhm.
And the same thing, when you go to England, it took 10 years, 10, 12 years. That's where my life where we
Mhm.
started to figure out the system and how it really works for us.
Mhm.
Now, there's a lot of monstration that come up from England. They see people doing well, and they fall into different systems, and they're hurting.
Mhm.
And they're unable to come back because those systems got them trapped. And that's the truth. I see them coming in thousands for St. Patrick's. I love them, and we want them to repatriate. That's why, government, you listen to me. You must come up with a repatriation plan. I'm telling you, it's something that is going to take you some time. It's going to take you some tailoring. It's going to take some work, but it must be done.
Absolutely.
Because the idea is system. So I said 12 years took us, my mom and dad, but we had some foundation
Mhm.
from living here. Church, school, community.
Mhm.
That was a system that my father
And you had your unit. You had your.
yeah.
Mhm.
So because my father knew that, first thing we did from the church.
Mhm.
So a Seventh-day Adventist church, we went in and we meshed. We learned what they did and how they did it. Because trust me, Adventism over there is different to Adventism
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
It's meaning in the sense that how they function.
Mhm.
It's necessarily the same message, but functioning, right? And we did that. We fit that in. That was a system. Now the next system is to understand how the government system works. For the children, young people, you can't lash them to school.
Mhm.
I had 2 or 3 young under
I'm
me.
supposed to laugh in here either.
Well, I went through that experience here, so I gotta bring it in.
Yeah.
Just a system change. How do you adjust to suit that system?
Mhm.
So why am I saying that? There's a lot of monstration who are stuck in their ways, and they don't want to adjust to the system outside. So because of that, they get forced back, and then they get burned, and then they get a lot of things that happen to them, and they complain about it, like the mindset that they have. And there's a deeper thing behind it, as I do psychodynamic counseling. I mean, one of the things psychology tells you that unconsciously, because of your loss that you've had in the
Mhm,
past,
mhm.
you're operating in that loss mode still.
Absolutely, yes.
So when you still have plenty at your table, you still can't see it. You're still functioning in loss.
Yeah, and that I want that last thing, the whole, that I think, and I think that clearly is affecting us, not just
Oh, yes.
there but here. And I think people don't understand this piece. One of the reasons when we complain about monstrations here, who don't want you to come back, who don't want us to come back. 'Cause I've been here 5-6 years now, and there's still that little bit of tension sometimes. One of the reasons why people hold on to the little that we have left is because it's the little that we have left.
Yeah.
And it's a psychological thing. It's something that needs to be processed and talked to and worked through. And the fact of the matter is that Montserrat has not made a concerted effort to do that. Now we know the constraints. Government don't have any money, but of course we also know there are ways around certain things.
Of course.
But also when you're in crisis, because we still are in crisis, when you are in this state of crisis and scarcity, it's kind of difficult to think about those
Yeah, I'm with you.
ephemeral,
It's-
intangible things. But I
there-
think it's critical that at some point we do.
In one of my studies, we talk about different levels of emergency mode.
Mhm.
So my wife calls me, oh, my son just dropped down. Is he already there with Bruce? I say, wife calls me, he says, my son just fall down and bust up here.
Two different things.
I start to operate in different
Mhm.
modes. And I think when the volcano kicked off, there was something there that's emergency mode.
Absolutely.
Boom, and we operated a certain way, we had to adjust quickly. And somehow, I think what I've observed is that Montserrat cannot get out of that mindset.
It's not that we cannot, again, but you need to be
maybe I use the
intentional.
word cannot, but
You need to be, which is why I wanted you here. And I know that Coach Harris was here. I didn't get a chance to see her. I wanted to talk to her too, because I think that's one of the things that we have to look at. We have to start thinking about in Montserrat. We have to find a way to work through this.
to it. Yeah, that's
And we could do the traditional psychological, psychiatric counseling, and that will serve some
Yep,
people.
yep.
But there's a different level which will
Conversation.
come from personal development
Of course.
and those kinds of conversations. So hold a thought. We're gonna play a song for you.
Yes.
Arrow.
Oh yeah, one of my inspirations, great
Yes.
inspirations in my life.
Montserrat English.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
this-
they kind of. My mother's a teacher, and I
Yeah.
remember my mother told me the story one time. somebody went home and complained that they saw me. They heard me passing by walls. You remember in front of walls, right?
Yeah.
And how should you talk? And we didn't complain because I was teacher Eleanor's daughter. I was supposed to be speaking properly.
Properly.
And my mother, to her eternal credit, because she's like that, I don't think people realize this. My mother's like, my mother said, well, was she speaking it properly? Okay?
Yeah,
It's a
so,
language.
I mean, there's a certain part of your heritage that our dialect is very important.
It is, it's critical.
And because of that, because even when I speak, like, and I'm able, my mom taught me to speak English properly, and you know, you go out, you have manners and respect and that kind of thing, decorum and all the rest of it. But when it comes to talk about me English, me have to be able to talk when I want
There's
to.
some things you can only say in a monstration. You can't say another way. Yes.
Okay.
All right, Arrow. Mighty Arrow. What's that English? Really what you want to get there. I don't want to say. Baby, that's the monstration way. Yes, so. This is monster culture. We'll be proud of it forever. This is monster culture. We'll be proud of it forever. Excellent, excellent. What does it mean to be proud of Montserrat? What does that mean to you, Gershom? To be proud of Montserrat?
I think the first thing when I think about being proud of Montserrat, it's about what we stand for as a people.
What do we stand for as a people?
The ones that I know growing up in, we respect and love each other. I tell a story of one match like the whole village, Windhill. Not that is a story.
Yes. I hope so.
So you know, basically, if you don't have no match, you know, back in the day, when you have no match, you go and borrow the same match and go take the fire to the next person. And the next person. That's the mindset we have as a people, as a community.
Do we have one? Do we still have it?
That's where my heart cries, you know. I love my Spanish people. I love my Grenadian people. I love my Guyanese. Whatever heritage they have background. But once you live here, I think I say love you the same. But I think a lot of people, I don't live here, but I can hear the energy coming out of it from abroad. There's a little bit of thing going on. But
more than a little bit of thing, let's be honest. More than a little bit of thing, Gershom.
I'm trying to be gentle with it.
No. This is brain power. The idea is that we talk here. We're not gentle here. We talk things the way they are.
I'm trying to be gentle.
Yes.
But I mean, at the end of the day, there's something about acceptance, right? And if we can't accept ourselves and believe that our culture is strong enough to penetrate anybody else's culture, then you're gonna have an issue. But then if you feel that other people's culture, regardless of where they come from, gonna infiltrate or damage our own or break it away that we forget it, then I mean you don't really know yourself, you don't accept yourself.
But here's it. In here, Arrow says, Arrow talks about being proud of your culture.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that you're talking about is exactly that. People talk about the Jamaican culture and they're doing all these things. The question is do we believe and do we act as if our culture is
strong?
It just is
strong. Yeah.
Or are we afraid that it's not strong enough and that's why it gets...
That is I think we brought it to the surface. That is exactly what I see. I think and Arrow brings it out in this song. There's a lot of fear around who we are as a person, our identity, and will it last? You go to Florida, can you tell who Monsters are? You go to Antigua, can you tell who Monsters are? Are we a whisper in the wind that obviously is just there, it's gone tomorrow? And I think there's a fear there. There's an unconscious fear there and that is why it's so very hard sometimes to integrate. And when people integrate, then there's an issue when they watch a person, oh, you might a Jamaican,
but wait,
and have the Turkish and but we are, and the pot has been mixed up a long time, I think before, years ago, now I'm knowing, the pot was mixed a long
Of course it was. Of course it was.
It was well mixed a long time ago.
I mean, let me just give an example. I hear there's a lot of talk about police officers, for example. And when I was growing up, I think every police officer I knew came from somewhere else.
Right.
My grandmother's house was just down the road in Salem. It was just down the road from Salem Police Station. Yeah. And there was, I can't remember the names now, Butler and whoever else. They were all from somewhere else.
But this is the thing. I think because now we're trying. I think there's a fear that we're so small already.
We're afraid to lose again. But here's the thing, Gershom, and I found this out a few years ago. We were in short on time, so we're going to kind of wrap this up. But a few years ago, actually in 2015, when we were doing some work for the commemoration of the volcanic activity in 20 years, we did some activities, some events around the place, and one of the things that struck me was how this fear is preventing us from reaching people.
I'm telling you.
And we set up this thing here, this barrier between us and them, and they, as willing and as able as they want to, they see a barrier.
Yeah, of course.
And when you see a barrier, what you do, you put up your defenses. So everybody puts their defenses.
Can we bring in the corona now? We can bring it in now.
Yeah, but let me tell you. But let me just give you one of the things that I want to say this, because I think it's really important. People don't know this. People don't pay attention to this. In that week, that couple of weeks when we did those things, the other people working on this project had the opportunity to do was hear from some of those people who came from overseas. Because one of the things that we have have been refusing to do is to acknowledge what happened and talk. But we talk about it on the surface. What happened? We don't talk about what happened to us.
I'm telling you.
And it shut us down. And then people, I've heard, people from Ghana, people from Jamaica, people tell me, but Miss Osborne, I didn't know. And it's now I understand what months that people went through. Because they got to have a conversation. We're not having those conversations.
No. I think there's some issues because you got to think you will feel like you offend somebody. There's a lot of false representation too. And those two come. Some people, they don't really know what true Manchester is about.
No, because they're not seeing it. They're not seeing it.
No. Because, I mean, you build a house next to a Manchester and you're Jamaican. I'm going to tell you somebody's story. And it's my friend. And you build a house, and before the fence fall or something draw overside, the neighbor would come and tell you about it, pick it up, clean it up, and put it back. But instead now, they pick up the phone and they call environmental health, or they call what they call the people down there that deal with borders, land and survey. Right. And it's gone to a legal issue. The monster we know and I know.
They didn't even have fences, come to think of it. But yeah.
I'm trying to tell you. So there's it's in our well-being as a people. It's there. It's developing and it's unfolding. And obviously they're not experiencing the love of what I knew. The ball gone over there, they bring it back.
And when you see resistance, you give resistance.
It will come back. It's going to be. It's a conversation that me and you is bigger than me and you. It's one that needs to be had publicly more, and people need to talk about. But I believe that I think we have it in us still. We still have it in us.
I think it's in there. It hasn't gone anywhere. We just need to find ways to pull it out. And maybe this horrible coronavirus, this crowning moment, will be the time. Because it's forcing us to look at one another differently. Not just to look at one another, but to find out ways to protect one another. Protect one another, protect you is protecting me.
Yes.
And the thing that I find challenging, for example, is social distancing. My sister Brenda told me, Shirley, you guys need to stop talking about social distancing. You cannot be socially distant in this time. You can be physically distant,
but not social.
But you have to make an attempt. You have to be really, really intentional and determined about keeping the society, the social.
That's a big one, I look at my kids, and I think about them, and my wife is like the first time they experience Montserrat, and like my kids, not my wife, but and I understand that. Obviously, we hug each other, we touch each other. Hey, what going on? You good? How you doing? Good.
So we touch the flesh.
Yes. And there's an embrace of energy and vibration that throughout your body. You connect with people. Oh yes, it's a different vibration. So I believe that with this coronavirus, it helps you to self-reflect. Look at yourself. I am a person that believes in personal development, and a lot of people don't know how to enjoy their own space, be comfortable in their own space, be happy with who you are in your own space, and understanding that you are beautiful, you're fearfully and wonderfully well. You don't need nobody to define you. You don't need anybody to come and tell you who you are, and understanding that you have everything that you desire inside of you already. You talk about ambition earlier, which I'm going to tell you is that it's within me that the ambitions comes out. I see my desire to share with somebody else to help them to get to the next level. You're thinking about they have broken relationship for years. This man is doing whatever he wants to you, and you don't know how to define yourself. So I mean, it's in a nutshell that this coronavirus, yes, you should quarantine yourself, but don't wait for them to tell to quarantine you.
No.
I want to drop this in. You should take time to quarantine yourself and make sure you purify yourself. You get yourself, you get your holistic. Shout out to Runner Weeks, this week's that I did. Rodeltia. Yeah. Sorry, dude. And she did this amazing event, and I'm thinking, look at this, paramount. You're teaching people how to genuinely
look after themselves,
self-care, and keep yourself together. And this is what it's about, personal development. When you start looking at yourself, you would then see your ambition.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to bring back.
All right. So we're running out of time. We have just a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to ask you to really quickly tell me the last thing you want to say to Mon's Fashions right now, and then we're going to, you have 30 seconds. Go.
Believe in yourself. That's the first principle that you would have to undergo before you can become. Every dream you have is possible. It's what's inside of you. It's built inside you. They come from the I am. I believe that. You must accept who you are first. Start with the affirmation. I am beautiful. I am wonderful. I am great. I am amazing. I am the greatest motivational speaker of all time. Pour a cup of lemonade and drink it from not a place of empty, but a place of full. Start with it and enjoy it and say, this is mine. Take ownership of who you are. Understand that there's nobody in this world can do what you can do and do it the way you can do it. You're here for a special ingredient. Being a motivational speaker is me. This is who I am. This is what I'm called to be. This is what I'm born to be. I'm not average in it. I'm great in it because I have something to offer. Think about yourself as the same. And I guarantee you, everything you desire will come to pass. It's in your gift that will make room for you at the table amongst kings. But thank you, Shirley Osborne. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And remember, don't isolate yourself from people that can give you what you truly desire. But self-isolate yourself, to quarantine yourself, that you're able to see who you are first. And then you can move to people.
Thank you, Gershom. Thank you very much for coming. Let me reiterate what you just said. Let me say this again. This is not about breaking up relationships. This is about, in fact, we're in a time where we need to strengthen our relationships. We need to pay real serious attention to our relationships. If for no other reason than the worst case scenario is that we're going to lose so many people that we love.
That's it.
Which is all the more reason why, just in case, I mean, hopefully we don't, but just in case, I want to ask everybody, make it about love. Make it about love. Tell somebody you love them. I love you, I love you, I love you.
Shirley, I love you, you know.
Thank you. Love you right back.
I love you, you know. I love you plenty, you know.
Thank you.
Let me tell you something. Much I love you, you know. If you didn't know Gershom, aka Dr. J, Love Motivator, I love you guys. Every human being that's on this rock, paradise, Emily, I love you guys. Just don't pass me and heal me, because I'm going to heal you first. I love you guys, man.
Okay, let me just say one more thing. In this whole crisis scenario, in this delicate time that we're in, one of the things that has to happen is authorities act on authority and do things that sometimes we might have difficulty with. And one of the things that people I've heard people say over the last few days is, you have to be careful, don't say this, don't say that. I want to remind people that what's happening in the United States right now is that the president is considering suspending people's constitutional rights so that if you get arrested right now, you can be held indefinitely without trial. What that means, obviously, it's going to have a hard time passing through the House of Representatives and so on. But the fact that they came up with that, right? That's what happens in times of crisis. Governments, all kinds of governments, even the best ones, take the opportunity to do some things that are not, they do some underhand things. And people tend to be careful with government in times of crisis about what you say. My position is that is the time when you need to be talking to your government. You and your government need to have this ongoing conversation. And the government don't talk to you, call the government out. And government, if people don't talk to you, call them out, go to them. This conversation has to be had, because otherwise, what's going to happen, and I'm talking about Montserrat specifically, what we risk is we get into a crisis where Montserratians feel tossed out, tossed away, pushed away. We feel unsupported. We feel unwanted in our own place. We feel helpless. So we do realize that a lot of things that we need, we don't have any real control over them. So whatever little power we have, we need to be holding on to it and using it well so that we don't lose anymore. That's my wish for Montserrat right now. Everybody, the entire country, people and government, be on your guard. Be careful with one another. Be careful the things you say, the things you do, how you do it, because ultimately Montserrat is going to be here.
Oh yeah.
We might not all be here, but Montserrat is going to be here, and we have to continue. We have to continue without with as little animosity and grief and pain as possible. Let the only grief be what this thing here brings, and hopefully it doesn't bring any, but let that be all, not pain that we give to one another. That's my prayer, that's my request, and I will see you all next week. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you so much. Take good care of yourselves. Stay home. Stop in the house. You have to go somewhere, go to the beach by yourself or with one or two people, and spread out in the seawater and wash out and so on. And use your phone and WhatsApp and email, and so stay in touch with your people. Look after one another. Look after yourself. Look after one another. Thank you very, very much. Be safe. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Loads.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gershom. Thank you so much. And thank you very much, ladies. Serious.
Say bye-bye.
Let me fix my hair.
Love you guys, man.
Yeah.
Share.